Life has a way of testing us in the most unexpected and painful ways. Sometimes, the people we trust the most become the architects of our suffering. This was my reality when a woman I deeply loved led me into a spiral of emotional and spiritual darkness. I was lost, drained, and devoid of purpose until I discovered semen retention. There was a time when I believed my life was on track. I had a decent job, friends I could count on, and a daily routine that kept me afloat. But even then, there was something missing, a sense of purpose, a deeper fire that never seemed to ignite. I didn't understand the power of energy, of self-mastery. I was drifting through life, and I didn't know it until she came into the picture. She wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic. There was something about her that pulled me in like gravity. I didn't realize it at the time, but she would be the one to open the door to a darkness I never knew existed. That descent changed everything. But it was through that descent that I found the one thing that saved me: semen retention. We met at a friend's party. She had a smile that could disarm a soldier and eyes that seemed to see right through me. From the very beginning, there was an intensity one couldn't explain. It wasn't just physical attraction. It was spiritual, or so I thought. She made me feel seen, special, chosen. In the early days, we couldn't get enough of each other. Texts all day, long nights together, passionate, unrestrained sex that left me drained and wanting more. She introduced me to new pleasures, new ideas, and even spiritual concepts that sounded profound at the time, but always came with a twist, usually one that benefited her. I noticed I was becoming more reactive, less in control of my emotions. My boundaries blurred. If she was upset, I was upset. If she was cold, I begged for warmth. There was something addicting about her approval, and something devastating about its absence. My focus shifted from my goals to her moods. I couldn't work the same. I didn't sleep well, and I didn't realize how much of my energy I was giving away. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, she introduced me to her world. A world full of subtle manipulation, chaos disguised as freedom, and emotional games. She spoke of energy, of how sex was sacred, yet she used it as a weapon. She spoke of openness and freedom, yet I felt more trapped than ever. She'd flirt openly with other men, then blame my insecurity. She'd disappear for days, then return with stories that didn't add up. Each time I'd confront her, she'd twist the narrative. I began doubting my own perception of reality. Physically, I was spent. We had affair constantly, but I was always the one left empty. The orgasms gave short-term highs and long-term crashes. I began to rely on them to feel okay. She fed off the energy, and I kept giving it over and over. I started noticing how weak I felt. I lacked drive. I was moody, indecisive, and my confidence plummeted. My workout suffered. My sleep suffered. My ambition vanished. I had become a shell of myself, orbiting around her, hoping for validation. The door had been opened. I stepped through, thinking I was entering a romantic adventure, but I was entering a spiritual nightmare. It all came crashing down the night I found out she had been cheating again. Not the first time, but this time I couldn't ignore it. Something inside me snapped. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just shut down. Numbness took over. The following weeks were dark. I spiraled. I stayed home, stopped answering friends, and sank into distractions, porn, junk food, meaningless scrolling. I couldn't escape the shame, not just from what she did, but from how I let it all happen. I lost respect for myself. I looked in a mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. There were bags under my eyes, and my posture was weak. I felt like I had aged 5 years in a few months. But the worst part was how empty I felt after every release. I was masturbating daily, sometimes multiple times, just to feel something. But each time, I felt more hollow. My body was screaming at me to stop, but I didn't know how. I was addicted. I was lost. One night, while scrolling through YouTube, I came across a video on semen retention. At first, I laughed it off. Another new age gimmick, I thought, but something about it stuck with me. The speaker wasn't preachy. He spoke from experience. He talked about how abstaining from ejaculation changed his energy, his mind, and his life. I was skeptical, but desperate, so I decided to try. Day 1 was easy. Day 2 brought intense urges. Day 3 was hell. Every part of me screamed for release. But something also felt different. I was thinking more clearly. I wasn't clouded by lust. My dreams were vivid. I started remembering things I used to love: music, writing, running. By the end of the first week, I had a small breakthrough. I stood taller. I made my bed. I went to the gym again. I said no to something that didn't serve me. It was tiny, but it was a beginning. Rebirth through retention. Weeks passed. The urges didn't disappear, but I learned to master them. Instead of running from them, I sat with them. I channeled the energy into workouts, reading, creating. My mind sharpened. My discipline strengthened. I began to see semen retention not as deprivation, but as preservation. I was no longer giving away my power every time I felt a craving. I was transmuting that energy into action, clarity, and purpose. My self-worth returned. I stopped chasing women. I started building. I created routines. I journaled. I set goals. And slowly, the man in the mirror came back. One day, months later, I saw her again. She reached out casually like nothing had happened. The old me would have fallen for it. But I saw through the veil this time. I felt nothing, not hatred, not longing, just peace. She hadn't changed, but I had. I realized then, she was never the enemy. She was a mirror, a painful teacher. She opened the door to darkness, but only so I could learn to find the light. And semen retention was the key that unlocked that light. The lessons my higher self taught me. Women can be a trap or a test. Not all women are toxic, but some will drain you if you let them. A real man must maintain his frame, set boundaries, and never sacrifice his mission for temporary pleasure. Sexual energy is life force. Every time you ejaculate recklessly, you give away a piece of your vitality. Semen retention taught me that true strength comes from mastering your impulses. Pain is a catalyst for growth. If she hadn't broken me, I wouldn't have discovered semen retention. Sometimes, the darkest moments lead to the greatest transformations. Discipline is freedom. Retaining my seed gave me control over my life. The more disciplined I became, the more freedom I experienced. Join our Telegram community using the link below and revive yourself from the shackles of hell. She opened the door to darkness for me, but semen retention pulled me out. It gave me back my energy, my confidence, and my purpose. Today, I'm no longer the weak, emotionally dependent man I once was. I'm stronger, wiser, and in full control of my destiny. If you're struggling, if a woman has broken you, if you feel lost and drained, know this: your power is within you. Stop wasting your seed. Stop chasing validation. Retain, rebuild, and reclaim your throne. The darkness doesn't last forever. Semen retention saved me, and it can save you too.